The Sony RX100 VII is one of the best vlogging / YouTube cameras in the entire game right now, and I don't really give a shit what anybody else says. I love it. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a few ways that you can make your experience with it even better.
Resume is a heavyweight, yeah. Put it on my back, give me everything, yeah. I need everything, I need all of everything, yeah.
Thankfully, a lot of third-party manufacturers have stepped up and made vlogging a hell of a lot easier with some great add-ons and accessories. And I got a few great options right here that we're going to take a look at today, so let's get right into it. First up is this little cage by SmallRig. It was originally made for the RX100 VI, but it fits the 7 just fine. I'll leave a link to this cage and a few other alternative cages, along with everything else you see here in the video, down below in the description. The RX100 thankfully comes with a mic jack now, but there's no way to mount a mic. For these cages, you could pick up these little shoe mounts that you can attach pretty much anywhere on the cage that there's an available thread, and you can mount whatever you like on it, whether it be a light, a microphone, flash, whatever you want. And speaking of mics, let's go over what I believe to be the 3 best microphone options for the Sony RX100 VII. First up, the Rode Wireless Go. Of course, small camera, small mic, great results from both, makes perfect sense. This especially comes in handy when you have your camera on some kind of extension rod or vlogging grip where a shotgun mic wouldn't be close enough to your mouth to get clean audio. Now, you don't need it to be. Next up is the microphone we're using right now, the Rode Video Micro. Very popular microphone, and for good reason. Although at this point it's been out for a little while, I wouldn't mind seeing my friends over at Rode come out with a version 2 of this, maybe make it a little bit smaller, make that pubic puff a little less puff. I mean, look at this thing. It's like, look at the size of this. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't get nowhere with this thing covering it. It's craziness. This is nuts. It's almost 2020. You're still rolling like that? Just throw it on your cage and get great audio. Just make sure you go in your camera and turn down your internal audio so that the microphone itself is doing most of the work. That pretty much goes for all external microphones with all cameras. But if you don't want to use a cage or rig up a way to mount an external microphone, just pick up this little $25 Saramonic SRXM1. That's it, SRXM1. This is a great little microphone that I started using back when the Osmo Pocket gave us external audio. This is the first thing I picked up, and it works pretty good. And the best part is, it sits right inside your mic jack, and it swivels. So it turns whichever way you want to do it. Now, if you notice right here, I have a little rubber band on mine, and you might be wondering why. This is to kind of ease up on that swivel a little bit. Sometimes this thing will swivel around in a direction that's not directing at the thing that you want it to be directed at, and this kind of just puts that on chill a little bit. This mic jack cover right here we're going to use to our advantage. So what I did was just pull one of those rubber band loops that I had wrapped around the microphone multiple times and just wrap one little strap over the microphone cover itself, so it kind of holds it in place a little bit. You can still swivel it around and you can still move it up and down. It just puts a little bit more tension on it, and then the extra rubber band wrappings around the bottom of the microphone make it a little bit thicker so it fits in between that microphone jack cover a little bit snugger. So just decided to try this out and it worked well. I would love to see Rode make something like the Saramonic right here, something really small that just fits right in the mic jack, doesn't need any type of mount. But I would like to see Saramonic come out with a version 2 of this. You know, I feel like they made a little bit of money over the last year or two with this microphone. Some way to maybe lock it in place, maybe some kind of little adapter that you could put around it, little slightly better audio quality. The audio quality is just fine on this, especially for what it is, but it's not like the Rode Video Micro or something bigger and more expensive. It's a $25 microphone. I use this microphone with no cage when I want to be as minimal as humanly possible. And I also picked up this little itty bitty third-party troll vagina to help with the wind noise, and it does a pretty good job. The RX100 VI didn't come with a built-in ND filter like the 5 did, and the 7 doesn't have one either, which is pretty important when it comes to video. But don't worry, there is a company called LensMate, which I have used quite a few times in the past, that makes just a little adapter ring that adhesives right onto the front of the lens, and it stays on very well. Like I said, this is like my third or fourth time using LensMate. I've never had an adapter fall off once. And then you can attach any 52mm filter of any kind that you want onto this camera, and it works great. So quick rundown. You got the ring right here, that's what's stuck on, and then here is the adapter. And all you do is put the adapter on, twist, and now you're locked in place. And then you grab yourself your 52mm filter of any choice. This happens to be a variable ND, and you just screw it right in the thread like a regular camera. I happen to like this way a lot better. This gives you way more versatility than the little, I think it's like a 3-stop built-in ND that used to come with this camera. This way you're getting as many stops as you could find in a 52mm filter. The filter that I have right here works really well, and the brand that I'm currently using right now is a brand called Zome or Zume. In your head, in your head, Zome, 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 hey, hey. And another brand that I like that makes a really good 52mm variable ND is K&F Concepts. I'll leave both of these in the link in the description as well. Next up is something I haven't used yet. My buddies over at Urig and Ulanzi sent me something. It's basically a half cage for the RX100 Mark VII, and it has a nice little grip on it. So we're gonna throw it on right now for the very first time and see what it do, baby boo. All right, so this is definitely an impressive. Yeah, you can't hold an RX100 like that without a grip like that on there. That's a nice little grip, feels good, has a leather feel to it, and I can actually fit my big ass. I got, like, I palm basketballs, son, and I could kind of fit my fingers in there. So if you can't palm a basketball, you should be good to go with this. Now, the one thing I don't like, it's just one thing that I wish we could have did different, and that was, even though it's unorthodox, the grip is pretty much always on the right side of the camera. I'd like to see it on the left-hand side, and there's a reason why. Not because I'm a special type of left-handed person that is made to do something incredible in this world, but because your little built-in microphone jack happens to be on the same side of this, which means that the shoe mount is on the opposite side, which means whatever microphone you put on here, unless it's that little Saramonic, if there's a wire that needs to go into that microphone jack, it has to travel from the mount across to the jack. I don't love that. I mean, you know, if you're flipping up your screen, yeah, sure, it'll just run behind it, but I like to have the mount and the microphone jack on the same side. With that being said, I don't think it's a deal breaker, just because it is a really, really good half rig cage, and it keeps the whole top of it wide open, so it's really easy to get to your buttons. Flip the screen up really easy. You don't have to dig your fingers inside of anything. Everything is extremely accessible. Everything is extremely accessible. You can get to the battery door. Works great. This is a nice rig. Next up is spare batteries. If you own any Sony RX100 camera, or pretty much any point and shoot camera in the game, you are gonna need probably a minimum of at least 3 spare batteries. I've owned a ton of different battery brands for the RX100 cameras over the years that I've just randomly ordered off Amazon. Pretty much every time I get a new RX100 camera, I like to buy fresh batteries that I haven't used a million times. That way, you know, they're so inexpensive at this point that what's the big deal? And besides the actual Sony branded batteries that come with the camera that are made by Sony, these are the best batteries that I've used for an RX100 camera. Not only do you have a micro USB for charging, but you also have a USB-C for charging as well, so you could plug either one in depending on what cable you happen to have around you. I really like that. I just go with the USB-C myself, but you know, if I'm ever in a jam, I go to a hotel or I'm traveling somewhere and I bring this with me and I forget a USB-C, micro USBs, you could usually find them at like gas stations or whatever. So I like that there's 2 options there. And like I said, the charge lasts the longest on these than any of the other third-party brands that I've used. And it works great. So yeah, link in the description. And best of all, at 20 bucks, you get 3 batteries for 20 bucks. You get a great charger. It's at your house in 2 days. You can't go wrong with that. And now to my favorite part, which includes my 2 favorite new toys that I've been using for this camera since I've gotten it. The first is the much more expensive Zhiyun. I really honestly don't know how to say it. Nobody knows. It's a myth. Some people claim, but nobody knows. Priced in at $269, worth every penny. Love this thing. Only one single gripe with this entire gimbal at all. It's just one gripe. You can lock the mechanism. This is locked in here. You could have your camera sitting here locked in place. It won't go anywhere in your bag, but you can there's a good chance that you're gonna maybe lose your balance slightly because you have to adjust something. You have to slide it in order to lock it in, which means you have to move it from the initial balance that you have on it. It's not ideal. I'd like to just see each axis have a lock of its own on it and call it a day. Besides that, amazing. And one of the benefits of using the Crane M2 with the RX100 Mark VII, or any gimbal really with this camera, is if you have it turned on, you can now turn off active steady shot because you don't need it. The gimbal's gonna do all the stabilization for you anyway. So now with active steady shot turned off, it'll crop back out. You'll get a little bit wider of field of view. It's not much, it doesn't crop much to begin with anyway, but at 24mm, you might as well get as wide as you possibly can. And last is something I just picked up and I love this thing already. It's a heavy duty selfie stick. That's pretty much what it is. And when I say heavy duty, I don't mean the weight. This thing is super lightweight. I mean heavy duty as far as it can hold a point and shoot camera. And if you don't extend it too far, you could probably hold something like an A6400 or A6600. Just, you know, the further you extend, the more front heavy it's gonna be. Again, I will leave a few of these for you to browse through just to get what you think is right for you. You could do so many things with this. You can get really, really high shots. You can get really, really low shots without having to bend all the way over. You could just stand upright and get really low shots with this. You can get really wide angles with this. So check out how easy this is. Boom, it's on. You want it off? Boom, it's off. You want it on? It's on there, and it works great. And then you could adjust this to your liking. You can tilt it forward, you can tilt it up, down. I mean, you saw it in the thumbnail, right? So there you go, look at that. I mean, that's for real. And you could literally walk around like this. Not that you would normally vlog like this, but say one video you happen to be out with a few people or really nice scenery behind you, or just a crowd of people. Maybe you're at a Mardi Gras, some crap. You pull this out and then you get like, holy crap, I got everybody in frame and 2 blocks back behind them. You're hiking somewhere. Maybe there's something up in a tree. You could extend this all the way up into the branch, get a little bird's nest. So many options with this, and it's so cheap and inexpensive, and it works great. But I MacGyvered this up a little bit myself. Let me shrink this down. That's what ugly she said. So what I did was, Zhiyun comes in to play again. I took, really you could use any kickstand you want because there's a thread on the bottom, but I just happened to use the one that was on my Weeble Lab, and Zhiyun makes an adapter, and it's a quick release plate for these little mini tripods. And then you put the other end right here on the bottom of whatever you're trying to hook it up to, and then you just pull down, push in, attach, and now it gets even longer. That's what he said. And you have tripod legs. Look at that. Is that not great? Come on, man. I mean, this thing is just light enough, but just heavy duty enough to, if you're out somewhere on the go. Come on, bro. Come on, dude. That's great, man. I mean, sometimes you just, I don't know, dude. I like this thing. If you don't like it, I don't like you. Now, the one gripe I have with this model specifically is that, let's take the legs off. Look at this. Right off. No screwing around, pun intended. Once you lock it, that ain't going nowhere. But this is pretty much as small as it gets. Now, literally, this feels like a cheerleading baton. No weight to it whatsoever, but this is as small as it gets. That's why I left different options in Amazon in case somebody wants to go a little bit smaller, but I'm good with this. Love this setup right here. I've been using this little selfie stick more than anything. And it also comes with attachments that fit in this quick release plate thing. I don't have them right here on me, but it makes one for a GoPro mount, same way, it just slides right on and off, and a phone mount, smartphone mount. This is a definite pickup if you are a vlogger and you use any point and shoot camera. And now what you can start doing with all of these little gadgets I showed you here today is you can start mixing and matching and really get a convenient, perfect setup for yourself. And with something like this, with this long stick, especially when you want to get it really far and get that really wide angle, ain't nothing else coming more in handy than the wireless Go, because now you have your microphone attached to you. It doesn't matter how far you extend this camera. So this setup works great together. And really what this also does is, anybody out there complaining that 24mm is not wide enough, this solves all your problems. I'll tell you the truth, even just normal without extending it at all, that's a good length vlogging grip right there. That will extend, and you can keep your arm at a comfortable length instead of having it straight out in front of you, and you'll still have a nice wide field of view with this. Very simple, very easy to use, very easy to extend, very easy to collapse. Works great, love this thing. So what do you guys think about the Sony RX100 Mark VII? It's been out for a little while now, about a month or so. What are your thoughts on it? Do you own one? Do you plan on getting one? I'll tell you what, man, this is by far, I've owned quite a few RX100 cameras in the past. This is by far the best one. And it was just the right amount of tweaks and upgrades to the RX100 VI. And if you spent the $1,200 to get this, you might as well pimp it out a little bit more. And most of these accessories here are extremely affordable. Right there is that's that Instagram right there, if you, just in case you want to see it or follow me on it. That's it. That's where you would go to do that. Thumbs up if you happen to like this video. If you are not yet subscribed, please do so right damn now. I'd appreciate it highly, baby. Thank you everybody for watching. Enjoy your day, enjoy your night, and enjoy tomorrow morning. Salute.
Resume is a heavyweight, yeah. Put it on my back, give me everything, yeah. I need everything, I need all of everything, yeah.